Well, good evening and welcome everyone to the 101st WarsawJS Meetup. Was anyone here for the 100th JS Meetup? Yeah, me too. I think you might still catch the rest of the party. It's still going on somewhere. Apparently they had a good time. I left early. It's a pleasure to be here with you. And we, just so you know, are live streaming on Facebook, Twitter, and also our WarsawJS YouTube channel. So welcome also to the audience abroad and around. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We have a great presentation for you this evening. My name is Barry Salone, and I'm just going to try to make some order out of all of this, as if that were possible. I'm the MC, and we are, in fact, streaming, right? Live? Welcome, everybody. Let's see, who can we introduce? Piotr Gentara, who was just standing in front before, who is one of the founders of this organization. Gabriela Chuha, hello, Gabriela, wherever you are, who does marketing. Maciej Wiszniewski, we love you. I hope you're watching. Also, social media and helps us with our social presence online. And Barry Salone. Yes. I know. And this is funny because it says WarsawJS Meetup Tech Team, and this team consists of Louisa Haas. The truth is, she is a team because we also have Pavel Reknio sitting right next to her, who's helping us with the sound. Louisa, it's no secret, I adore you. Okay, also we have our volunteers, Mehdi Akbari. He's around here, I saw him somewhere. Oh, he's helping everyone find the way in here. Yes, give him a hand, give him a hand. And Grzegorz Markowski. It's really nice that you have such energy, and it's very polite to give people a hand. This stuff, yeah, because this stuff doesn't happen easily. It doesn't just appear out of nowhere. It takes a lot of work, a lot of cooperation, and a lot of planning, believe it or not. Even if we show up looking like we're not sure it's going to happen, it's going to happen. What is WarsawJS? Is anyone here for the first time? First timers. Welcome to the first timers. Bravo. Usually I recognize a lot of faces, and then sometimes I'm thinking maybe it's me, maybe I'm 101 years old, I just don't remember. However, welcome to you. What is WarsawJS? WarsawJS exists to support both professional and novice software developers within the IT community. We intend to accelerate the process of education by sharing our knowledge and experience. Now, this part about the sharing knowledge and experience is the real reason I'm here. Not just because I'm a friend with this guy and he's actually my boss and my everything. It's because I really think this is a great idea. You have very valuable knowledge, as I'm sure you know. And the fact that you get together and share it with each other, let's say more or less for free, because people pay a lot of money for these types of courses and this type of information. And also to be able to interact and network with professionals who are working in the field is a great opportunity, and I'm really proud to be here with you. Our mission statement, okay, what is this? This means that we observe the Berlin Code of Conduct. And what is that? It means that we simply are polite to each other. We do not tolerate any aggression or any negative language toward anyone, based on things like age, height, sex, color of shoes, gender, religion. These are, it's not going to be tolerated, and I promise you. I also moonlight as a bouncer. So if we have to, we'll bounce someone who doesn't want to behave appropriately. We're prepared to do that as well. Never happened so far. Let's see, what is this? Oh my gosh, okay, we have apparently 6,167 members. That's not bad, huh? Unfortunately, I can't uncover this. It says organized by Piotr and 3 others. Ooh, I love it. I love the tag. Okay, so WarsawJS.com. Look for us on our website, and also like us on Facebook and like our tweets on Twitter, and give us some feedback and some response. If you guys out there in the audience abroad or out there in TV video land have any questions during the question and answer section, you can also write to us on our YouTube channel as well. All right, our sponsors today. Okay, get ready, because this is where you have to really come to life. I know it's been a long day. I understand. It's like, let's get this party started already. However, we must pull some energy for our sponsors. So as I start talking, you guys start clapping. Ready? Okay, Blazite, Fresha, Prisma, Evolution, Xfang, and Daftcode, which is where we are located today. Give them a big hand. Come on, give me some energy. And Fresha, of course, we said Fresha. Yes, of course. And I'll say Daftcode again, because that's where we are. We're located at the Warsaw Spire, which is a fantastic skyscraper in Warsaw. In case you've never been here, you should come and visit. It's everything that a skyscraper is supposed to be in 2023. And Daftcode is kind enough to let us host this meetup in this location. Hi, Daniel.
Hey.
How you doing?
Good.
All right. So we also have a contest sometime during this meetup. And that means that if any of you are brave enough or just have something that's burning that you must present to this audience, you could do a 5-minute lightning talk. And as a prize, as in return, you will receive a 100% discount for a 1-year JetBrains license. So we encourage you to give a lightning talk. If you have any interest in doing that, you can inform me or Louisa or Pavel, Reknil, or Piotr and Tara. Let us know. We love it when people come, especially first-timers, and they are all ambitious, and they have knowledge that maybe we don't have, and they want to present something. We love it, and we welcome you to do that. All right, let's get down to it. We have a great lineup this evening. By the way, each talk will be 25 minutes, pretty much precisely, Piotr. And that means that if you hear a ding, ding, it just means that I'm giving a gentle hint that maybe we will need to move on soon. This is only because we have a limited amount of time to be in the space, and we need time for pizza and networking. So let's try to be considerate about the time. After each talk, you will also be welcome to ask questions. So I'll come around. If you have any questions, just raise your hand. And we do encourage you to ask questions. Don't be shy. Our first speaker this evening is going to talk about Monorepo, Mayhem, Monorepo Mayhem, Tame the Chaos with Turborepo, which I looked up today. I thought it's a very interesting concept. The Monorepo tool of legends. So please, everybody, welcome Piotr Sławiński. Oh, by the way, if you need Wi-Fi, we have a guest code. Everybody ready? Can you write it down? I'll give it to you quickly. These are all caps. SCRLD. Dash, is that dash in there, Pricinek? Is it in there? Okay. KTOMS. That is the free Wi-Fi password that you have access to while you're in the building. You all set?
Nope.
Okay. This guy's a lot of fun. He's been working out, as you can see.
That's a size too small t-shirt, maybe 2 sizes.
I like it. I'll take it. I don't mind. I mean, I think it's pretty cool. I like the logo and everything. Is it Blazite or Blazite?
It's
Blazite. You see, I knew it. I just knew. If there's a chance to mispronounce something, I'll do it. Blazite. Yes, of course it is. That's the flame that we see. I thought Blazite.
It's in English, you know?
That's English? Blazite. Of course it is.
I don't know.
It's a nice t-shirt, nice logo. So
I don't know if you can find this in dictionary, but yeah, it's in English.
Welcome, Piotr.
And let's one more thing, because I need to be on StreamYard to stream to the worldwide. Okay, do you see me in the StreamYard? Okay, I don't need a camera. Do I need to mute on the laptop? Okay.
Aha, właśnie nic nie było po prostu. No właśnie, okej, umiem, ale tylko jeżeli muszę. Ja muszę.
Are we live? Are we hot? I can hear myself. Why? What about now? Wyłączyłem. So, who's that? Próba mikrofonu, raz, dwa, trzy. Słychać mnie z dużym opóźnieniem.
Co robimy?
No, ja jestem wymiutowany, wyciszony, głośniki, wszystko, więc to chyba ten mikrofon.
Ten mikrofon. Parego mikrofon dobrze działa?
Tak, nie, to wiesz co, to trzeba kogoś z Daftcode, bo tutaj trzeba wyłączyć te głośniki z sali.
A, bez głośnik z sali.
Chcesz to?
Nie.
Słuchaj, mogę mówić bardzo głośno i ignorować ten dźwięk. A nie, dobra.
A słuchawki możesz założyć?
A jakbyś wszedł gdzieś w ustawienie dźwięku, bo ty wysyłasz ten dźwięk kablem
Masz
HDMI.
słuchawki?
Serio? Ja jestem przecież zmutowany na
Nie jesteś
StreamYardzie.
podłączeni pod dźwięku żadnym.
No, ale to technicznie. Ale nie, w sensie, że pewnie on założył.
On ci po prostu szczytuje z przeglądarki, z tego StreamYarda, gdzie jesteś
Serio? Ale jestem tutaj zmutowany.
Tak, tylko nie nadajesz, ale my nadajemy ten dźwięk.
No dobra, to mogę zrobić tak. Mogę wyłączyć go w ten sposób.
Nie, sound wyłącz.
I sound. Mogę wszystko
teraz
wyłączyć. Halo, halo, raz, dwa, trzy. Hej, dobra. Sprawdźcie, czy nadaje tak jak trzeba. Dobra, czy mnie słychać, czy nadajemy? Are we live? Okay. Do you see my slides? Or do you see my speaker notes? No, you don't see. Because I'm not sharing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's like a.
Could you share that with us, please?
It's like this embarrassing moment during online meetings. Can you see my screen?
I've had dreams, many dreams about that.
I am sharing. I hope you see just my slides and not the speaker notes. Okay, so without further ado, ChatGPT wrote this. I mean, just the title slide, because ChatGPT was at capacity and unavailable for the last couple of days. Okay, hi, my name is Piotr Sławiński. I'm a front-end developer at Blazity. And if you're interested in building systems, monorepos, or repository strategies in general, then this talk is for you. But additionally, if you're interested in Blazity, then a lightning talk will be conducted later by my colleague, Kasia, and it will certainly tell you more about the company. Okay, so before we jump headfirst into monorepos, we need some context, because monorepo is not the only way to store code. The most popular repository strategies out there are monoliths, multi-repos, monorepos, and those marked with asterisks are so obscure to me that I won't cover them, but feel free to research them on your own. Okay, so let's start from the top. Monoliths. They can be, in short words, they can be described as single-tiered, tightly coupled, self-dependent apps living in on a single platform. And regarding advantages and disadvantages, theoretically, they have a better throughput of data because they are so comparing to modular applications. They have fewer elements, so we have fewer testing scenarios. It is easier to debug compared to modular applications. From a development point of view, everything seems simpler, at least at the beginning. And including implementations of features and processes like logging, configuration, etc. Okay, now the bad part, which are becoming more visible as the project grows. First of all, readability goes out the window. Okay. Readability can projects can be difficult to understand, regardless if it's a monolith or a multi-repo or whatever, but it's way easier to deteriorate the code readability in monoliths. Also, with the requirements becoming more complex, it's also difficult to implement changes because of the tight coupling I mentioned before. Tight coupling is bad for extensibility and stability. Yeah. Also, compilation time, startup time, development time, they all suffer when the scale of app is increased. Oh, and if we introduce bugs, I mean, when we introduce bugs, it can impact the whole app, which probably will crash completely. And taking all into consideration, organizations may prefer to remain the status quo, and this can leave them unable to take advantage of the new technologies because we are fine with what we got. Let's not fix things which are working, right? Okay, multi-repos. I couldn't find any clever image for this slide, but anyway, multi-repos are multi-tiered, one repo per service, flexible apps. I think they are most common, at least in my part of the internet, and they characterized with the following pros and cons. First, team autonomy, because team decides what libraries they'll use, when they will deploy, and who can contribute. Well, because there's a repo, every team have a repo. Maybe there's a repo for a project or for a application. And so we can easily also separate the versioning systems. We can separately track the versioning of the components. Working with Git and handling PRs is very clear. Ownership is easy to delegate because repo privileges can be granted using GitHub UI. New components can be easily added, just like that, added and developed. But on the other hand, team autonomy. Multi-repos can lead to isolation of the teams, and they can result in siloing the structure. Like we just focus on our part of the code and we don't care about the rest, which should cooperate with our part of the app. Also, when it comes to code sharing across repositories, we usually have to create a new repo, set up the tooling, CI, package publishing, yada, yada. That's a lot of work just to share some code. And when developers are working on more than one repo, they have to set up environments to apply the changes across multiple repositories with disconnected Git history, revision history, which results in more PRs because one small change will affect many repositories. So yeah, it means more PRs. And also, there's an increased effort of releasing the packages and bumping the versions in every repository which uses the GAN library. And whoops. Also, teams might write their own implementations of common services and components, which increases the burden of maintenance, security, and quality control. Also, each project may use its own set of tools, commands, which creates a mental overhead of remembering which commands to use and from project to project. Okay, there are no asterisks because mono means one and repo means repo. This concludes my presentation. Thank you very much. Just joking. Just joking. Monorepos are version-controlled repository holding many related but logically independent projects. Okay, by now you should know the drill. Time for pros and cons. So developers, we have a lot to cover, so let's speed up. Developers can confidently collaborate and contribute to other teams' applications. And because they have access to the entire project from the get-go, they can perform large-scale code refactoring and ensure that every piece of the project continues to function after the refactor. But because breaking changes are instantly apparent, APIs or breaking changes in APIs or shared libraries, forcing different teams to communicate ahead, and well, mainly because teams are not still logged in. So yeah. Also, similar functionalities can be abstracted to shared libraries and directly included in projects. So in case of multi-repo, many projects depend on third-party dependencies, and that dependency might get downloaded or built multiple times. In monorepo, the dependency management can be easily optimized as referenced dependencies are hosted in the same repository. Also, enforcing code quality is inconsistent code style is easier when you have all the code base in one place. Atomic commits make refactoring easier because developer can update cell packages with a single commit. You can use the same CI/CD process for every project in the repo. Same goes for the build process. But there's bad side to monorepos. Commands like git blame may take a long time. IDs can begin to lag up. Testing the whole repository is a nightmare. Productivity suffers. Also, monorepos can reach large volumes of data and large number of commits every day. Well, services like GitHub allow read access to all software in the project, so code ownership and access restricting is challenging. Peer notifications and with a monorepo, you can check out all projects by default. It can take up significant amount of space because, for instance, Google's monorepo is 100 terabytes now, probably even more. So handling this on a machine it may be problematic. But let's summarize the of the monorepo and what needs extra attention from our side. So to not get overwhelmed by the scale of our monorepo, we need to define a unified directory for easier discovery. Keep branches small. Consider adopting trunk-based development. Indeed, we want to learn how to use shallow clone, filter branch, and partial checkout. We should pin our dependencies for every project and upgrade dependencies all at once. We should also shop around for a smart build system to speed up building and testing. We will restrict access to certain projects, like according to subdirectory and not to the repository. We should use a cloud-based CI/CD platform if we are working at scale, because, well, maintaining a monorepo is not so easy. But what is this tool exactly? In terms of improved source control, we have a couple of solutions, like virtual file system for Git. I think that's from Microsoft. We have something for large files as well. Mercurial is an alternative to Git, and it's very fast and it works quite well with monorepos. Git code owners actually enable you to assign access according to the subdirectories and not the repository project. And also a hot take that Google has its own version control system called Piper. About the build systems, because this is the part which is supposed to be, I am supposed to be talking about this on today's presentation. So we have Bazel from Google, back from Facebook, Pan from Twitter, and WarsawJS from Microsoft. And they are all very powerful. They have very powerful configuration, and sometimes this configuration is too powerful even for us. That's why if you are interested in something like with less zero config or minimal config, then you should check out Lerna, Annex, Run Workspaces, and Turborepo. Okay, so compared to Bazel, Blaze, Bazel or Blaze are the same thing, but one is in-house Google tool, and one is open source, I think, outside. And Turborepo gives you simplicity with minimal configuration or enforced structure. A normal task runner would run linked, test, and build processes in a serial way. And Turborepo understands the dependencies relations and can run them concurrently or in parallel. After running a task, an artifact is saved changed is restored from cache. Also, this cache can be distributed cache or so it can be stored in somewhere in the cloud, which would benefit all the cloud-based processes to benefit the speed, first of all. And if your project fits within the box of Warsaw's products, it is going to be the best or easiest solution for you. But all that tooling is nothing without communication. Melvin Conway once said that any organization that designs a system will produce a design whose structure is a copy of the organization's communications structure. So communication is essential for building great products. Multi-repos allow each team to manage their projects independently, focus only on the part they own, forgetting about the overall picture. Usually, of course, not all the time. Monorepo works as a central hub, encourages conversations, and helps bringing the silos down. To conclude, when it comes to migration, people with a monorepo think a multi-repo will make their lives better. And people with multi-repo think monorepo will make their lives better. But once you try the migration, you will realize that the amount of problems are the same. It's just in a different form. So there isn't a huge benefit of having a monorepo if the only things you're sharing are linter or just configs, because maintaining a monorepo is a non-trivial task, even with tools like Turborepo. So make sure that benefits of having a monorepo outweigh the cost of maintaining it, because if you don't have resources to maintain it or create a custom tooling like Google, you're going to be limited in terms of what a monorepo can provide to you. And monorepo doesn't make sense for everything, but it can be a game changer for certain solutions. And if it happens that monorepo is a solution for you, try giving Turborepo a chance, because maybe it's going to be worth your while. OK, I wouldn't dare to live code today, but I think I can pull off some live command lining. So here goes nothing. This can be one brief moment, because I need to mirror my screen. Yup. I will show you a monorepo project put together with the use of Turborepo. So this is an example from Warsaw's documentation. And we can see that we have this in the directory tree. We have apps, which is our projects. We have blog, we have admin, we have API, some storefront. We have package. We have root level node modules, which is some of them are symlinks, because I'm using PNPM. I recommend. And we have packages, which is like this shared libraries, ESLint config, just some things, and UI library. All the configuration is held in this file, the Turborepo configuration, which actually describes the order of things that need to happen if we want to, let's say, build the project, because well, usually we want to build first the packages, and then we want to build the projects which are using the packages. Do I want to show you something else? At this point, no, but let me show you how this works in real time. So do you see my, okay, you can see everything clearly. Let me first build the project. npm run build, and I will add a flag because I already cached this project once. So I think it's gonna work. It's gonna run build anyways, regardless of the cache. So you will see how much time it takes. Please work. Okay, we see some output. It's all our apps are currently being built, and in a second or two, yeah. So it took us 16 seconds to build the whole project. But if we would like to use the cached version, then I will just remove this flag. And now, okay, don't blink because you might miss it. As you can see, it took 800 milliseconds, and I really like this gradient text saying full turbo. That's the stuff. So the same thing goes with linting. So and testing, but I would like to show you also that if I will change a small detail in one of the projects, like for instance something in the blog, save that, then running npm run build will use the cached version of the other projects and build just the blog. So maybe one more. This also is available. The caching is also available in the cloud. So if you put your project on Warsaw infrastructure, everyone will be able to share this cache. So if you build something, then if anyone else is also working on the Monorepo anywhere else in the world, they will have this cache and they will not need to build this thing again. Same thing goes for the build processes. I've seen an example of someone running end-to-end test on the cloud, which used the cached version. So of the cached version of the tests. And yeah, one more thing maybe, because we really want to see those npm run dev. You would like to see some of the projects, but
3 minutes.
That doesn't work.
That's why I'm telling you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we should be able, where's my cursor? To just see the all the projects are running in parallel, so we can develop all at once, or we can laser focus on just one of them, like running npm filter blog. I hope I remember it well. Nope. Run filter blog dev. Yep. And we have just started the blog. So, well, this is it. I don't have anything more to add. So I'm guessing applause.
Yes, of course, applause. Yeah, you're guessing applause. I love it. Okay. Piotr, Sławiński. Does anyone have any questions? Today, because we don't have any microphone assistance, I'm going to ask that if you have a question that you kind of like stand up and ask the question. It would be very, very nice.
Approach me and speak directly to this microphone.
Yeah, all of that. Does anyone have a question? First person.
Maybe
please.
you can read again my question when you
Yeah, sure.
Okay. First of all, thank you for presentation. And my question is, Turborepo looks like not the Monorepo tool. It looks like task manager for Monorepo. So don't have functionality, for example, that we need for Monorepo. It's version managing, something like change logs, I don't know, custom comments that run full Monorepo. It's only something like build tools that go to package JSON and run this. Yes, I understand, right? Yeah,
well, your understanding is very straightforward. It is a build tool, but I think, as far as I know, all of the tools mentioned, the build tools, share the same features, more or less the same. No?
WarsawJS, for example, has the full
Okay.
configuration.
About WarsawJS and all the other big big dogs over there.
It's not only built to. So my question here, is it have any extra functionality, not only build and running something like packages and comments? Can I have access to the version, for example, publish package version? For example, I want to publish only blog with next measure version. Can I do it with Turborepo, or I need something else to do?
I'll be honest with you. I have no freaking idea because listen, I'm all hype, for this tool, and I know that the competition is tight in this market. We have plenty of tools which are older than Turborepo, and okay, for some particular solutions, they may be a better solution, but. If you want to use Turborepo and benefit from its features, then you need to, first of all, choose or decide if your particular use case is right for this tool. Because if not, well, you might as well go with a monolith. Why not? It's up to you. I'm just evangelizing over here.
Thank you for your question.
I'm not doing a great job, as you can see.
You're doing a great job. When I realized this was going to be your topic today, I actually, and this is me speaking, I actually looked it up. I actually wanted to know more about what this was all about, a Monorepo and Turborepo, and I got a fairly clear understanding of how it could be used and for what reasons. I understand that generally it's about large projects. So in order to go to Turborepo, then it would have to make sense to have a Monorepo. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to even think about whether Turborepo has any additional features or not, because it's apparently a companion to your Monorepo. Anyone else have a question? Who is that? Yes, sir, please.
You said that one of the downsides of Monorepo is code review. What exactly is?
Okay. The question was why code review is a bad side of Monorepo.
Code reading, yeah.
The code review per se is not a problem, but the handling the PRs is, because without all this proper tooling I mentioned, there's a lot of noise. We have, for instance, a project with a lot of code, a lot of developers, and just one repo. So we need additional help to maintain the business as usual. Because within a monorepo, with one PR, we can review code changes in many parts of the project, but that also will notify everyone about it, and that's the problem, which tools like the additional versioning system tools should solve. And what I was told, and if I understand well, Lerna is doing this pretty well.
Good answer. There was one more person here with a question, sir.
Yes,
Come on.
I have a question about the business use case for a Monorepo. What is the most common business use case when you have to use Monorepo?
Okay. So jokingly, I will say that if you have a multi-repo and you've had it you cannot look at it even 1 second more, then maybe Monorepo is good for you. But that's but all things serious. Any project, regardless if it's a monolith, a multi-repo, or monorepo, can get so messy that its maintainability will become very low because they will be like full of entry patterns, etc., etc. Like, I don't know, for instance, if you start a multi-repo for microservices, but you will couple them so tightly, it becomes a distributed monolith, which is an anti-pattern for microservices. And maybe what you need is just throw some resources at solving those issues you have, and not essentially refactor whole code base to use some other repository strategy. But after thoughtful consideration and research, if it happens that the monorepo solves some of your problems, or it solves more problems than it leaves you with, then that's a way to go.
Anyone else have a question? I have one because I was watching this. I think they said Turborepo in 90 seconds or something like that. You know how these videos are on YouTube. Something about the visualization of dependencies. Like, does it allow you to visualize?
Barry,
yes.
I'm so surprised that you actually reminded me about it.
Oh.
Because there is something like that.
Don't be so surprised. I mean, come on. I've been here
I'm positively surprised. I was surprised I forgot.
Okay. Well, maybe it was a good question.
Okay. Yeah. Spot on. So this is not impressive as the feature provided by NX. NX is way more interactive. This is just a PDF. It's a graph of dependencies on how they are built during the build process. So I think up top we have things that we want to. Okay, I need to research this further. I don't want to say something which is not true, but this is the graphing feature you mentioned.
Okay, yeah, that was something that impressed me, even though I do not code. I am not that guy. However, it seemed like a really useful tool, something that I would try to get ChatGPT to do. Can you make a chart? Can you make a graph? Thank you very, very much. I think that's it for the questions. One more, please. We have time for one more question. Go ahead.
I just got into this whole Monorepo stuff, and I was trying to exactly use this Turborepo, and I was looking at the internet for like differences between NX and Lerna, and so basically what I understood is that this Turborepo uses like some more freedom, because with if you use like NX, you need to like kind of, what I understood is like they have to approve some packages that you can use, and with this basically you can do like you don't have anything to do with that, right? So you can install whatever packages you want, and you don't really need to wait for support. Like for example with NX, is that correct?
Well, you might be correct, because I don't think I've dived so deep into NX. I would have to look this up.
Yeah, because I was kind of like wondering which way to go, and then I
go full turbo.
That's the answer.
Yeah.
Go full turbo.
Yeah.
When
in doubt, flat out.
Okay, folks, that's it for Pavel, Piotr, Sławiński. Give him another hand. Thank you very much. I was told that we're going to take a bit of a break. How long of a break, sir?
5 minutes.
It's not going to happen. 10-minute break. And I was also told to let you know that there are refreshments in that room, including some beer. So let's see you back here in 10 minutes, okay? Thank you very much. Yes? Okay, I just want to remind our audience that's out there that are not here having a party with us. Yeah, we're back. That if you have any questions or comments, please add them to our Facebook or Twitter, or even our YouTube, WarsawJS YouTube page. That's WarsawJS. Also our website, WarsawJS.com. So any questions from out there, we're going to try to address your questions as well. Having said that, our next speaker almost needs no introduction. He's been here with WarsawJS longer than me, probably. I never remember being here without him. And he's a very, very engaging speaker and always has valuable information. So please welcome Artur Zochniak.
Hi, everybody. So today, like you have already seen in the agenda for today, I will be speaking about Solid. Who have heard about Solid rules? So we have plenty of you here who have heard about this. Who has been doing extra learning to understand this? Okay, and is there somebody who considers him understanding at least one of them, all of them? Like, it's enough if you understand just one of them, like thoroughly, so you are using this. And some of those who raised hand, would you like to speak few words to others, trying to convince them that it's valuable to understand them and remember about them every day?
Nice try. Go on.
But like people who understand them, do you like see point of using them?
Yeah, this is part of our craftsmanship. This is
And
like a solid foundation of our.
Yeah, so this name doesn't come from the air. It's like, so was this, when you understood this, you usually have like a click in your head. Did it improve your skills?
Yeah, definitely.
So I had the same. And thank you very much. So bravo for this person, because it's not that easy. And also nice try. I knew what I want. So before we start, I want to like a disclaimer. I want to give you a disclaimer that all of this, what you are going to hear today now, is based on my own experience. I have been doing some heavy reading on this topic, and there are many controversials. I will try to refer the most reliable source in this topic. But if there would be in the future, I did whatever I could not to make any mistakes, or if I made them, I think they are worth sacrificing the chance to understand overall idea. And I will simplify few things just to make it easier for us JavaScript developers, which have a lot of things on our plate, because like half of the programmers population on Earth are JavaScript developers. And this is very interesting. So not all of us so far had, like you have seen, not all of us had chance to work with somebody who knows that. Also, I started working. This is so far this is the widest slide. Like this is the widest material I have ever presented so far. And when I started working on this topic years ago, my goal was to make it the most comprehensive guide to software design ever in human history. It's like more than 6 years of thinking about this. That's why, I hope that I got it right. I will be improving this. And also, I feel like this is important time to reconsider level of our skills. So that's why I asked you whether this topic improves your skills, because we have seen recently important improvements in software development, I'm especially talking about, AI. It's not a revolution, it's just an improvement. It's been already here for many years, but this is a moment where we need to reconsider what we need to know in order to move on with our career. So let me begin. We will have 5 acts today. I will try to do it as quickly as possible, and this will be a problem. Okay, so everything has its beginning. And when we are born, we have different behaviors. One of such a behaviors is that when we are children, newborns, we trust everybody. Over the time, this changes. The same applies to our software, both in static approach, so modifying code, and also in runtime. If we would consider simulation as a world, then actually changing, we wouldn't be able to swap those classes. If we are running if our population would be running in some simulated world, then those strategies would have to change over time. This is connected to roles that we are also being able to play in our lives. There are different behaviors. I will just focus on very specific one, and this is like trusting other people. But of course, when we are born, we are open to trying, and our parents are taking care of us not getting poisoned. And if we do, then But we'll focus on trust. How does trust evolve? I wanted to pick up something which is easy. So when we meet somebody, we might just trust this person, but over time, we realize that actually, there's a saying that you should trust nobody, and over time, this evolves. Actually, I think that the peak of how complex implementation of trust would be is when we are adults, because then we need to not only care about ourselves but also others. And as you can see, so basically this is minimal version, and this is max complexity implementation of trust with the highest complexity. And warning, you are about to see maybe the most beautiful piece of code ever in your life, because this code which you are going to see will be about trust, friendship, and love. And this is it. And during today's talk, I will show you how we can change this code, this ugly-looking code, let's say, into, for me, masterpiece, which is so generalized that we can do awesome stuff. This brings us to a whole new level. Basically, instead of having all of the logic inlined here, we can have different strategies and iterate over them in runtime. Maybe I will just ask, does everybody is able to read this code, or you have quickly? Are you able to think of this? What this code is doing? Do you see that it might be doing the same things with some additional information? So basically, those will be strategies for different behaviors, and those ifs would be putting them on the list of strategies that we want to apply in our life. Advantage of this in JavaScript world would be that we would be able to, if we would be able to modify those strategies in runtime, then we wouldn't actually have to worry about exchanging classes, or restarting our application, for example. This is huge advantage. But let's start with topology of logic. And I have been showing this slide, I think, on my last lightning talk. So generally, it says that there are some things which, from the topological point of view, are very similar. Cap of Mobius torus is the same thing from topological point of view. I like math because we all have been studying math at some point, and also math is beautiful, and very often it's according to our knowledge, the best of our knowledge is not likely to be wrong, because physics is wrong, and Einstein had proven that, but math so far it's not that easy to prove that something was accepted. Okay, so we will apply topological rules to this source code, and we will just say that that blue parts are abstract beings, green ones is persistence. So this is what we can remember. This is our character, maybe, or list of people we know or trust. Orange are implementations on some specific host. Purple ones are conditions, and blue ones are internal calls. I would also, we might also communicate with other subsystems, but this would be red in this case, but we are not using red, but let's say there is such a chance. So what we'll do is that for each of the classes, we will change this into Tetris looking like structure. And this was child. We will apply very similar logic for another stage of life. And as you can see, if we would iterate, do you understand what we are doing here? It's just colorizing different parts, and we will then do something with them. And the next step is merging those interfaces. So we the highest complexity of our logic would be would be adult in this case, and that's why it extends our topological it extends our topological visualization. We might be also adding different. We are just trying to see how complex potentially our structure for our logic contained within it could be. Okay, and after we are done, we need to look for a way to make it. We need to find a way to pack our logic in such a way that it can be picked, and then we could configure our object so it can use any sub part of the global logic we could have. Are you fine so far? Who's lost? Is there somebody who's lost? Okay, so pictograms are better than longer explanations, I think. So you haven't, nobody we have skipped something, and this is we have skipped years of practice in software development. You didn't tell me that we could actually use polymorphism, and we could. This is first way. This is structural programming which implements polymorphism. So we could be actually building those objects in runtime. What is the problem? Do you see any any limitation of this approach compared to this what I have shown you on this slide and this slide? Okay, this slide with those strategies. Are you? Yeah. Okay.
You can't reuse strategy. It applies to young. It will be code duplication if you want to use strategy, for example, the same strategy for young and for adult. In some cases, there will be duplications, and it's not so flexible.
Okay, this flexibility, I like it.
Also, if you have more cases and this get strategy, it gets pretty nasty. Like the readability of the code is pretty low, so it's not good when we consider a long-term project.
Okay, if we would like to be able to configure it fully without any limitations, it limits us in some way. There will be, at some point, we will even have duplications. It limits us in some way that even if we would change this into classes, then we would be limited in the number of classes we can have. Is this clear for everybody? This is very important synchronization. Yeah. Okay, so we would be. Generally, we could build strategies like this. This is how we would be building this. But all of this, applying structures which are offered by programming languages, this is just a syntactic sugar. So there is no revolution. Can we do it better? And in fact, yes, we can. And what we'll do is that instead of having those classes, we will change. We will extract each the smallest part of logic, and we will extract this as something looking like mixins or list of roles. There is very interesting design pattern, role design pattern. But like, is it telling you, comparing to this, like, are you, do you know what, do you have an idea what is this doing?
Just enable strategies.
Yeah, exactly. So this is like, this is just a switch. This is just a switch, but are we limited somehow here in the way that our objects can be created? Like, those are just numbers, and this is like, this looks like a binary system. So we need, like at the beginning, I said that we will need something extra, and we need this input, the data, all of the strategies that we have in our system, that we have foreseen, but on a very low level. And those are those strategies. Just think of this like data. What is important is that we have condition and we have action. For each of the serialized condition, we have, this is basically it. So resulting source code is much shorter, but we need, but like the functionality itself is longer. It's the disadvantage for now, but it will change. So those are the improvements which we have done so far. It is too, for wide range of systems, this is too complex, and this makes it unmaintainable because it is hard for us to track changes, what is going on in this code. It's easier to keep this code simple, but there are trade-offs, but there are also advantages. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's see how all of this is done. So, you know, when we are getting older, we are told that there are some rules. And it turns out that in software development, I would consider those solid rules the most important building blocks of logic for developers. And equivalents are actually everywhere. And I'm assigning very simple. It's very hard to like understand those rules. It's very hard at the beginning to memorize them. I'm just assigning one character symbols to those, and I will explain you each of them in a moment, but I need to check what time do we have. Maybe we will make it. So this is the first rule is single responsibility principle. This is blog post. Like I said, I will do my best to refer. If you would be interested in getting back, you should be getting back to this topic. yeah, nice try. So this is blog of Robert C. Martin, and he's considered the best person in this topic. He's not fan of, not necessarily he's a huge fan of JavaScript, but generally at this point in our history, it doesn't matter what kind of programming language you are using. It's especially important now today how we are thinking about programming. Who knows what is this? Who has idea what is this? Different structure. It could be sky. So this is marble, and this is how marble mines look like. Marble is marmur in Polish, exactly. So in order for us to have marble in our kitchen, we need to get it from there to our like buildings, and this is how it's done. We are cutting this into pieces. We wouldn't be able to do it any other way, at least today, I think. That's why single responsibility principle for me is divide and conquer. We need to divide problems into smaller ones to be able to address them. And this is even like a wordplay in English. This is article from Robert C. Martin, like on his old webpage, Object Mentor. By the way, this webpage is dead. but if you are looking well, if you will be looking well enough, you will find it. And like the most important thing of the description of single responsibility pattern is that there should be one reason to change. And what doesn't matter, so it's like explained in depth, but I think it's better. Isn't this like all of those explanations are boring? And I think if you will love your code, you will take care about it. So if you will take care of your code, then this code will be asking you, what is your reason to change? And if you will have one specific reason for this code to change, then this code will trust that it should also love you, so it will be maintainable. So yeah, love your code, and it will do the same in exchange over time. So I understand single responsibility principle in this way, that we should split our logic into smallest chunks we can. Example: this is histogram calculation function. What is wrong with this function? It has downfalls, and a lot of them. Yes? What?
To read files, match, create data, single responsibility principle.
Yeah. So everything is done in. So we should basically, at least we should be able to change file name and maybe some other things. But yeah, like if we were to test, because good programmers are testing, it's worth it. And this is why you should be writing tests, because it makes sure that your code will be maintainable, not only to make sure that it's correct. But like this is strange. Why is there, like, if we would have such an implementation, then why do we have here, like in tests, why do we have to create a file? And this is strange. So if we were, this is the simplest example of this principle. So we won't be spending too much time on it. We are just extracting each of the parts of logic and name it separately. So I think it's doable for everybody. Yes. So now additional, like the additional advantage is not only increased readability, but we are also to test our source code separately from other modules. Of course, that's why single responsibility principle for me is division. Any questions? We can move on. We will have any questions later. Okay. So when it comes to open-close principle, it says that we should be writing software in such a way that it should be open for extensions, but closed for modification. And this is national park. I'm putting this photo here because for me this principle is related very closely to legacy. Once we have done something, we are closed for modifications. That's why if you find a stick in national park, you are not able to move it. Like it lives there by itself. But this is Puszcza Białowieska. But there's important thing, modifications. So if we have legacy source code, then we would also like to be able to extend it, like a building. And that's why I'm giving a paragraph symbol for this rule, so that you can somehow maybe refer to this in your memories after this talk as legacy, but also extending. Like we have all the time, we have new law, and it's hard to get rid of already introduced law. Those are like the fundamental advantages, or actually features that it's allowing us, but there is more and more. And I think this is the most important rule for building huge systems. And how we can introduce this. So let's say we have our logic. Let's get back to this implementation. And let's say now we would like, are we out of time?
You have a minute and a half. I can do some second.
Yeah. We will have to split this into two meetings. Yeah, we will have to split it.
Do you want to, keep talking until you find, is this a good place to stop, to take a break? What do you guys think? Is this a good place to take a break, or do you want to hear a little bit more?
Let's finish on the end. at the end of the second part, right?
At the end of the
Second act.
Second floor. Yeah.
Like, yeah.
what's the end of the first act? Yeah, that's my question. What's your last point?
So, yeah.
So this is second rule.
This is the so we're at the end of the first. Okay.
So we have finished the first rule, and we have just started second rule.
Maybe some of the questions will inform the second rule. So maybe it's a good idea to take some questions now because it truly has been 25 minutes. As usual, very interesting, provocative. Does anyone have any questions that they'd like to ask Artur about this first rule with regard to solid? Anyone at all? Questions?
Will you be able to continue next time? I don't know, next.
I really like this question.
Yeah.
I really like this
I like
question.
the fact that you're asking questions while you're giving a presentation. I think it's a very interesting approach. You're very engaging with the audience. I thought of something about this because I work with communication and words. So you were saying child, teenager, adult, yes? Well, we have a fetus, we have a toddler, no, we have an infant, we have a toddler, we have a pre-teen, we have a pubescent, we have prepubescent, we have adolescent, there are a lot of language that you can use, I think, to maybe make your code more expressive, to express your idea. And I think it sort of fits kind of like what I do. So I really enjoyed your presentation in terms of really, if I understood you correctly, really giving color and being specific about naming and finding more avenues, which instead of being stuck with 3 categories, just shift everything into 3 categories, you're giving more space for development. Is that correct?
This is what I did because I think this is a very important topic, and at least I try to find a way to make it as entertainable as possible.
It's extremely entertaining. I think everyone's interested in hearing the rest. I just have one question. If I could just solidify, just kind of consolidate this in my tiny brain. Can you make one statement that explains to us how solid makes it possible for you to create a more elaborate and infinitely elaborate one statement, please.
Yes. So, like you have, all solid rules allow me to implement any level of complexity of logic, but it's not like if we are able to change bits in our computer to change data, then with solid rules, if we apply all of them correctly, we are able to instead of changing bits, we change data. With bits, with each of the bit changes, we are able to change logic in implementation, and this brings us to a new level of exploring all of the possible code spaces, not ever seen before, because we didn't need it. Now we need to find new ways to improve our software, and this is very important time in human history because people who will understand those rules and many other things will stay in this. Will be able to code efficiently and most important, participate in open.
Things like habits, especially, and perhaps also to a limited extent culture. So you have an element, and it is difficult to kind of to just get rid of it, to just switch it. You may be able to replace it with something else or extend it, you could say. So I think that we can also give these 2 things as examples. It's very philosophical.
Okay, so do I need to, is there any specific?
No, right.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, okay, I forgot to say this earlier, and this guy knows this. If you're going to ask a question, please make sure that it is actually a question. That would be very, very helpful because it gives our esteemed speaker, a chance to respond. Yes, sir.
just wanted to say that it was really interesting, but I think that 25 minutes is like not enough. I think maybe we should have like a whole meetup only for that and go like calmly through all the acts. So if you're planning on doing that, please let us know.
This is wonderful, and I wanted to split this anyway. I wanted to split this into multiple meetups. This was my idea from the beginning. That's why I'm not that shocked. But I'm very glad that we made it today. At least we went through first rule, because I think if you are listening carefully, then I think you, in case you had doubts how to apply it, then you have one strong way of understanding this. And luckily, we have 5 of them. So if you would be willing to hear more, then
even I was able to visualize what you were saying. I thought you did a really good job with visualization, especially. Thank you very much, Artur Zochniak.
Thank you very much.
Also, I've got a proposition. We can, because we already are very invested in this presentation. So if you have a time, we can record the rest. And then I'm going to put everything on our YouTube channel.
Oh, Louisa, tech team. It sounds great. You also, by the way, you're offering a course in this, are you not? So check it out.
So most probably I will be giving workshop for WarsawJS, but not only this. And actually, if we'll go through
this guy.
So if we would go to the last.
Wait. Whoa. You didn't see that. Whoa.
So to all of the attendees of this today's meeting, I will send you a quiz which will measure your understanding of those rules. Let's explain. This is just most probably there will be workshop. So this is very, like I said, this is I'm aiming this to be the most comprehensive guide.
Put this on WarsawJS's YouTube channel or on the Facebook channel or somewhere, maybe even on Twitter. Can we do that? Is that going to be a possibility?
So I would rather prefer to I would rather
on the JS.
So for now, this is for all of the people who have attended today. This is
this special limited offer.
No, not like limited offer. For people in first phase, we will send. I will ask Piotr to send all of this. Whoever came, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Give him one more hand, everybody.
I appreciate you. Okay. So thank you very much.
Thank you once again. I love this guy. I really do, though. All right, so our next speaker, everyone, let me just introduce him before he stands up. Oh, I know you. Yeah, it's great.
You have your slides here.
Okay, great. Okay, good. Hold on one second.
Because later there will be stuff just after your talk. So we need to start.
I hate being the presenter.
Hold on.
Yeah, that's slide 22. So can we go to the beginning? Home. Yeah.
Just this way. No.
Oh, you're spoiling the surprise.
So scroll it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first one.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I have no
So
idea.
go back.
There we go. Awesome. Thanks everyone for coming. I'm Tomek. I'm like on the internet, and I work at a firm which is a post-IPO fintech that just opened a branch in Poland. We are just entering hypergrowth mode, so exciting times. And I work there as an engineering manager. Previously, I was a startup founder. Previously, I was a web developer. I even presented here on this stage to you about micro frontends 6 years ago, back like way before micro frontends became a popular thing. So hearing all this, you might be wondering, why should I listen to this guy talking about burnout and depression? He's no like professional in that realm. And the reason I'm telling you about this is twofold. One of them is that in the tech community, both of these problems, both burnout and depression, are very, very prevalent. So according to a report that went out last year from Just Join IT, burnout, 70% of people in the tech community report experiencing burnout, and 10% report being diagnosed with depression. So imagine, like, on a 7-person team, there's a 50-50 chance that one of them is clinically depressed. In a 30-person company, there's like 99% a 99% chance. So this is a problem that touches, like, if we're working on teams, even if you are not experiencing this, I'm pretty sure this is influencing you through other people as well. And secondly, I've been through 3 episodes of burnout and one episode of depression, and throughout this process of getting out of them and back into normal functioning, I have personally tested 10 tools that have helped me a lot and that I want to share with you. So if that sounds sensible, we can move on to the first tool. By the way, I will tell them as a story. They kind of, I hope that this will help you understand, both understand them better, but also remember them better. But please don't treat this as like, this is the plan of action. First do this, then do this, then do this. I'm in no place to give you any advice. I'm treating this more as a kind of buffet that you can use and see which tools maybe resonate with you, and which and see if they work for you specifically. Yeah. So without further ado, let's move on to the first tool, which is openness. Oh, by the way, there's something wrong with fonts, and I didn't make this typo. I promise. There should be a double S at the end. Maybe if we switch to the PDF. Oh, by the way, I will share a PDF of these slides, and you can check it up online. It's these typos are not there. Anyway, openness might seem kind of wishy-washy. But it's actually a very concrete thing. What this means is, if you're not feeling well in any sense, just tell people about it. Don't try and kind of process it internally, because this, for me, this was the thing that actually set me on a path of coming out of depression, of receding from the depression. Specifically, I was very lucky to have loving people around me, people like I could trust. That was at the time when I was leading my startup, so I had a team of co-founders. I could be open with them about the problems I'm experiencing. I had great mentors. I had close family, close friends, and one of them actually. Oh, and by the way, this is not something that only I say. There's like these ladies, Emily and Amelia, I think. They're experts in burnout. They've written books about it, and they say that the top cure for burnout is a support network of loving people. Probably this is based on strong data. It's not other things that other people say. For me at least, it wasn't. And one of those people was very insistent that I that I try what became my second tool, namely psychotherapy. So if you're like me at the time, you might be thinking that it's again something kind of wishy-washy, like talking about some childhood memories and stuff. I actually even, like at the time, I even had previously tried psychotherapy for one of my previous burnout episodes, and it cost a lot of money and it didn't help at all. So I was pretty reluctant, but the person that I was talking to told me about one specific style of therapy, because there are lots of styles, like psychoanalysis, like Gestalt and stuff. Like there's hundreds of them, I think. And but this specific one caught my eye pretty much. Cognitive behavioral therapy. It's very kind of scientific. It's like cognitive means you're getting to understand things. So this is about understanding and processing them. So you're getting to understand how your brain and body works. And behavioral means you kind of make little changes in your behavior and observe with this cognitive part how it affects you. So it's kind of like test-driven development, so to speak. So this worked really well. It also delivers results pretty quickly for everyone I've talked to that has tried CBT as well. My therapist also is certified acceptance and commitment therapist. It's like a kind of newer version of CBT, so to speak, which is definitely worth looking into. And I also tried for one of my burnout episodes. What helped was solution-focused brief therapy. This was literally 3 sessions, and it set me back on a good path. So all of these are tried and tested by me. You can learn more. This is a really good book, A Liberated Mind. It's about ACT, but it goes through all of the therapy styles and kind of compares them to each other as well. At one point during one of the sessions, my therapist suggested that I go to a psychiatrist and get medication, and that set me on a set me on a path to discover the third tool, which is curiosity. So one of the symptoms of the depression that I was experiencing. By the way, this isn't showing me how much time I still have, right? It's how much time do I still have?
Yes.
Yeah. Enough. Barry's not here, our time expert.
As long as Barry is not here, you can...
Okay. Sorry, I have 20 minutes? No. Really? No. Okay. For the talk and the questions. So I've got like 10 minutes left, and then. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So one of the symptoms that I was experiencing was what's called lethargy and apathy, or apathy. I don't know how to pronounce it in English. Anyway. It's like, maybe let's zoom back a little. One thing that I think makes the tech community especially susceptible to burnout is that it likes to touch people who are really passionate about what they do. Most people I know in the tech community are really passionate about what they do, and for some odd reason, this passion sometimes turns into burnout, and that's what happened to me. And the thing about burnout is that it's the complete opposite of passion. So this feeling of being completely absorbed into something, it was kind of long gone for me. It was like a distant memory of being kind of really interested in a topic and kind of digging into it. And learning about this, medication that I was supposed to be taking, SSRIs, it set me on a path of getting to know more about, stuff like, how does the medicine work? How does what side effects there are? What's like how does this bring about an improvement? And this got me on a path of kind of digging into how my brain works, digging into how my body works. And this was the first time in many months where I got drawn into something again, like something awoke my curiosity. And I discovered along the way, a lot of great content. A lot of great content that I'd like to recommend to you. This is just the tip of the iceberg, but On the first and foremost, Huberman Lab. This is by a doctor called Andrew Huberman, who very generously shares broad and deep knowledge about neuroscience and like everything kind of holistically related to our brains and bodies in a very engaging way. I couldn't recommend this enough. Then there's a book with possibly an explicit word in the title, which was packed with practical tools that did help me. Some of them. At the start of my depressive episode, like one of the things that triggered it was anxiety, and this third book, Unwinding Anxiety, helped me deal with this anxiety and kind of productively escape from it and deal with it. And the fourth is a talk about gratitude. It didn't make its way to the top 10 tools, but it's also one of the tools I used. And it's incredibly interesting because there's a like cutting edge research about a thing called like neuroplasticity, which basically means your brain's capacity to actually build new networks in your brain and physically change itself. And we can actually influence it. And it's used in some very cutting edge research on like psychedelic assisted therapy and stuff like that. But actually, we can use very, very simple tools to also trigger these same mechanisms, the neuroplasticity mechanisms. And one of them is gratitude. Please watch the talk if that sounds interesting, because this is a tool that everyone should use, in my opinion. It really increases the quality of life in my experience, which also is a good place to mention that these tools, I think, so as far as I'm aware, these tools are helpful not only for dealing with a depressive episode or a burnout episode, but also preventing the onset of a depressive episode or a burnout episode. So even if you're not experiencing it, it might be useful for you personally, or it might be useful to someone on your team, for example, who's experiencing some of these symptoms. Anyway, this path of kind of digging into how my body works hinted me and kind of showed me another tool. It's tool probably number 5 or so, which is diet. It turns out that like the same stuff that's achieved through or like similar processes that are achieved through medication can also be achieved with like simple lifestyle changes. For example, foods, fermented foods. That's an interesting thing. So the bacteria in our guts are pretty smart. They've actually learned how to imitate our brain and release dopamine, for example. And so they like some of those bacteria, the bad bacteria, like sweet stuff. So when you're eating sweets, they're happy. So they've learned how to kind of influence us to eat more sweets. Yeah. Fermented foods are doing the opposite. They have lots of good bacteria, and they are helping us. They are helping us kind of maintain balance in our brain. Also, believe it or not, the stuff that these bacteria produce, like serotonin, for example. I think 95% of serotonin, which is like the molecule that makes us happy and satisfied, is produced by the bacteria in our guts. And fermented foods and also vegetables, which are the third, they kind of help that bacteria grow and make us happy. And tryptophan is a substance again that kind of that's a necessary ingredient of serotonin. So you're eating tryptophan, like pumpkin seeds, tuna, turkey, and lots of other foods as well, which you can read about in the notes below. And it's like a building blocks for serotonin. If you're not eating tryptophan, there's no way that your body can even create serotonin, because our bodies can't produce tryptophan themselves. There's also some dietary supplements that helped me. EPA, which is one of the omega-3 fatty acids, it also I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of all this, but please feel free to ask me later in the networking. It's pretty fascinating. I could go on for hours about each of these, but it's time to move on to the next tool, which is Sauna. So it's something that I really enjoy, and I was very pleased to find out that that regular use of sauna is very helpful for all the different, for many different aspects of our body, including mental health. So this is a graph of showing. I think the researchers followed 2,000 people throughout 30 years. So imagine how big an undertaking this was. And they found out that people who use sauna more often are 3 times less likely than the ones that use it less often to develop psychotic disorders, which is also one of the kind of hallmarks of depression. And this is just one of the many findings that apparently support this. Another related tool is ice baths. I know this is not for do any of you do ice baths? Oh wow, that's pretty. Wow, half the room. I'm amazed because I know that this is. Okay, yeah, I know that this might seem pretty scary and stressful, and of course it's not for everyone. There are some precautions. So for example, if you've got heart disease or stuff, you shouldn't be doing this. But if you do, it increases. It's great. Yeah. So there's this other molecule that makes us happy called dopamine, and dopamine is one of the reasons people take cocaine, because cocaine, this is the baseline of, is this is me kind of not happy, not sad. It's called the baseline of dopamine. Then what cocaine does is it increases the level of dopamine 3-fold, so you're kind of 3 times more happy than you usually are, and then you crash three times more sad than whenever. And but what's as far as I know, the ice baths are one of the maybe the only thing that does increase the level of dopamine, believe it or not, as much as cocaine does. So 3 times as much as the baseline, and it stays there for hours. It stays there for I think 3 hours, and there's no dip below baseline. So you don't get the downsides of dopamine highs. Oh yeah, the drop in dopamine. It also releases norepinephrine, which helps offset some other depression-related symptoms, which is great. Another tool is just having fun. It might seem pretty simplistic, but for people who are depressed and to some degree also to people experiencing burnout, it seems very difficult to find pleasure in anything, it's pretty common to see, at least it's a story I hear all the time from people that are depressed, that people keep telling them, oh, just go for a run, or go meet your friends or whatever, and this will help you. And the most common answer is, oh, you don't know nothing about depression. It's it's a completely different state. I can't do this stuff that you're telling me. There's no who told you that this would help. In fact, there's very strong scientific evidence that this stuff, going for a run, very, very simple tools, it's got a long list of very, very robust studies showing that this is actually one of the most effective tools to get out of depression. There are some really nice graphs in this article, so I will share it later, and I encourage you to check it out. Basically, it helps us break out of this vicious cycle of inactivity leading to depression, and then depression leading to more inactivity, and this kind of spiraling down into just sitting in place and doing nothing productive. One thing to keep in mind is it's good to at least in my experience, it's good to avoid things, pleasant things that are also stressful, like video games or certain kinds of I don't know, shows on Netflix or stuff like, I don't know, thrillers or horror stories, because that actually kind of can make things worse in some cases. So please stick with you know, things that are fun. Like humor is a good is so kind of you know, viewing funny content rather than kind of exciting or scary content. It also proved more effective for me. We're almost at the end. Sleep is one thing that is another thing that I discovered that I noticed is helping me a lot. And actually, there's some very clever people. Kind of there's even hypotheses that sleep is kind of more important for our kind of long-term like happiness than the stuff that we do during wake time. So while we're awake. I've even heard of hypothesis that like the thing that kind of distinguished us as humans from the rest of the animals is the fact that we can, for a bunch of reasons, we can sleep on our backs, and therefore we like a whole array of things like vivid dreams allowed us to evolve these big brains and social connections and language and stuff. So the vast majority of adults need 7 to 9 hours of sleep. So if you're not getting that much, please change your habits if you're into this stuff. And I can assure you that I managed to do this. Like when I read this book that's at the end, Why We Sleep, I very highly recommend it. I actually managed to change my habits from like sleeping 5.5 hours on average a night to 7 hours a night throughout a 3-month period. And it's like I've been doing this for like 3 or 4 years now. So it's possible to change your habits. It's very difficult, but it's possible. And this book, he's also got some talks on TED, and he's been on Joe Rogan's podcast as well. Matt Walker, he's a very good wake-up signal that kind of helped me power through with this. The 9th tool is time off. One surprising finding that I made was that with the 26 days of paid time off that most likely most of us have at our companies, plus public holidays in Poland, you can have 8 full weeks of time off throughout a year, like 8 vacations for a week, pretty much. If you're clever enough to, if you kind of cleverly stitch it together with the public holidays. I found through experimentation that what I need to kind of keep functioning sustainably over long periods of time and retain my energy is 1 week of fully disconnecting from work every quarter. So like 4 times a week. Like, you know, obviously this will be different for each of you, but it's definitely worth putting the effort into experimenting. There's some, of course, like you know me by now, there's some kind of deep neuroscience backing this up as well. So if you're into this, if you're into understanding like why it's the case, there are lots of sources here to dig in, to spike your curiosity, speaking of the tools. And one, I think this is the last one, exercise. I just happen to really like weight training. It has a vast array of benefits other than just, you know, helping me take good care of my mental health and keep my energy levels high. But there are lots of other things that you can do if you're more into other stuff. So there's a lot of content about this in the episode about depression of Huberman Lab. There's some pretty simple science behind. Actually, there's like multiple different mechanisms on very different levels in our bodies, apparently, that kind of helps us that makes exercise so effective. So, for example, it gives you norepinephrine, so it gives you lots of energy. So it's actually, it might seem like, you know, exercise burns up fuel, so it might kind of take away energy from us. But in terms of kind of brain energy, which is a mix of chemicals that give us, you know, a passion to do stuff, there's strong evidence that exercise actually gives us mental energy instead of taking it away from us. So if you feel like you're too tired to exercise, I think try exercising, and you might find out that you are less tired after exercising, which is pretty counterintuitive. There's a really good book called Bigger, Leaner, Stronger which is for guys, and Thinner, Leaner, Stronger, which is for girls. Obviously, feel free to read whichever is more relevant to you. And a really good episode with again on the human lab. I can't recommend it enough. And before we wrap up, I want you to keep a couple of things in mind. Like as I mentioned in the beginning, these are the tools that worked for me. Feel free to try them if you want them, but keep a close eye on how they are working for you, because the fact that they are working for me doesn't mean that they will necessarily work for you. Certainly not in the same way. Also, if you do see symptoms of poor mental health yourself, talk to a psychologist or a doctor, a health professional, just as I have. So definitely don't listen to some engineering manager talking about mental health and kind of take his advice, because I'm not giving you advice. I'm just sharing tools that I've discovered. Secondly, none of these tools is a substitute for medical treatment. As I mentioned in the talk, I decided, or maybe as I implied in the talk, I decided against taking medicine, but not like taking SSRIs, the medicine for treating depression. But this was decided together with a doctor. So it wasn't like the doctor told me to take my pills and they said, oh no, I'm going to do some other stuff. So what I did was actually I pulled up these tools that I did discover in the meantime and showed them to the doctor and said, hey, why don't we try these instead? See how they work. And the doctor said, okay, let's try this and let's do some. Let's just verify that they work and we've set some thresholds to make sure that I don't need these medications later on. So please don't treat it as a substitute for medical treatment. I also didn't treat them as a substitute. And again, the tools worked for me. It's pretty important to note that not all of these, so some of these tools might be unsafe for some people. So I was giving an example of like ice baths, possibly being unsafe for people who have heart disease or diabetes. It's similar with sauna. I think with like everything we do in life, there's like certain things that are kind of warning signs to not do them, and it's the same with these tools. So please proceed with caution. And it's also worth reading through the links, because they have lots of valuable information that's kind of relevant. So before we move to questions, just make sure you save this link. you can access the slides online over here. You can scan the QR code or just visit the link. And I'm all yours for questions. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to thank Tame for one thing, because I've been in this country for about 27 years, and I've met maybe 2 people who admit to or claim they have some kind of mental health issue. It's not something that people are very comfortable talking about, from my experience. I worked in the theater, I've worked in all different let's say types of realms in business, et cetera, et cetera. It's a very important topic, mostly because people don't feel that, okay, so I'm a little bored, okay, I'm bored again, okay, maybe you can give me some more excitement. And it's true. I'm also, by the way, a fitness trainer for over 30 years. And I can tell you from my personal experience that I was all over the place. When you would meet me, I was either on my way up or on my way down. And the part about the dopamine and serotonin is all true. The only thing that saved my life was exercise. So I learned to dance. I learned to do some physical discipline, actual strenuous activity physically. Nature is very important. And one more thing, diet, people, what you put in your body has everything to do with how stable you feel. I know you guys sit around a lot, twiddling with your fingers. That's not exercise. that does not qualify as exercise. Diet, I also found, is very, very important. and so I'm very, very strict about what I will and will not eat. And as you can see, I'm fairly stable.
Yeah.
And in fairly good shape. And yeah, so really thank you for that. Okay, first question we have over here.
First question is what you, let's say, recommend for people who can't do ice baths and saunas?
So first of all, I don't recommend any of these. Right?
What is could be the
Substitute.
Yeah. So in terms of like the kind of effects under the hood, there's a bunch. So for example, ice baths, what they give you, like both ice baths and saunas, while you're doing it, they give you a shot of norepinephrine, which is like and adrenaline also, like also called epinephrine, which kind of provokes your body and mind to action. So it kind of kicks you out of lethargy. But there are other things that do this as well, like exercise, for example. So it gives you the same benefits. Yeah, yeah. That's and also this, you know, the fun part, kind of taking care of yourself and doing pleasurable stuff. This also kind of kicks you out of lethargy. And then in terms of dopamine, so with exercise, that's one thing I heard is, and I've noticed also in myself, is that if like dopamine is released together with exercise, if and only if you enjoy the exercise. So like if there's like 3 or 4 different kinds of sports, yeah, that's. And I really encourage you to kind of experiment with different kinds of exercise, see what you like. Maybe you like tennis, maybe you like, I don't know, swimming or some like rock climbing, walking.
Especially for people I know, my experience, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, with serious, like very deep depression, serious issues, even getting up and walking can be enough to kick in some sort of relief and just getting used to them. Because the thing when you're depressed, when I was depressed, is I didn't even want to move. The last thing I want to do is move. I mean, you know, it tricks your mind. So thank you for that advice. And also nature is great. The seaside, the forest, you guys have good instinct for that here in Poland. I didn't have that experience in New York. Yes, sir.
Okay, you mentioned that fermented foods are good for the producing the hormones, yes?
Neurotransmitters, yeah.
Yes, neurotransmitters. Does beer count?
Actually, yeah, so actually, like as far as I know, the newest findings are pretty clear that anything that contains alcohol actually kind of kills the good bacteria in your gut, at least to some extent. So I myself.
I would like to add that according to Inspector, which is one of the top 100 most cited scientists on Earth, and he's talking about fermented. It's not important what you are eating. The most important thing is that it has to be like very wide of set of ingredients. So beer is putting a lot of this, but you should be eating at least 40 different types of ingredients. It includes toppings, so or spices. So this is like beer is one of the like what you need to have on a weekly basis. Use it, and this is I can't highlight how fermented food is super.
They say fasting also helps sometimes. Literally fasting.
Yeah. That didn't make it to my list. I didn't, you know, if I was to share all the tools with you sitting here like 5 days.
I'm shocked and I'm impressed with the topic. Has anyone here experienced depression? Okay, this is the most people in 20 years that I've ever seen who've ever said that they've experienced depression. And if you've never experienced it, usually the response is that people say, "Oh, come on, let's do this, let's do that." You know, it's not that bad. Cheer up, stuff like that. It can be very serious. So we really.
If you have never experienced depression, then please call your doctor.
You know what I was impressed with? That you said that you asked the doctor if you could try these alternative methods, and the doctor said yes. This was really surprising to me. Usually, like, oh no, this requires very serious, medical treatment and chemicals and stuff. So that was interesting, also. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask about this. By fermented foods, you mean like sour cabbage, right?
Yeah, like sauerkraut, like pickled cucumbers, but not the American kind. Sorry, Barry, the Polish kind.
No, that's why I'm here. Exactly. Exactly.
So, because I eat a lot of sour, like I
Awesome.
can't go without pickles or cabbage or some olives or something with my food, and I eat it. So, does this mean that this is kind of balancing out these bad bacteria that I have that make me also a lot of sweet?
Yeah, I think so. So one thing I've heard and also observed in myself to some extent is that like on the level of our body itself, so not the bacteria but our body, the parts that digest the stuff that's related to fermented food, and also to some kinds of amino acids, which is like a lot of like good food, like protein, for example. They are also kind of satisfied by sugar. So and it also works the other way around. So if you're craving sugar, if you really want to eat a donut or like 10 donuts or like a whole bucket of ice cream, you can try eating some sauerkraut, for example, instead, or some kimchi, or some pickled cucumbers, and sugar craving likely will go away. Like, just check it, experiment. Like, I really encourage you all to kind of try different things and see how they work for you.
But if I eat a lot of sugar, but then I eat a lot of pickles, is this like good for me?
You know that sugar is not good. You know this already. You know that eating a lot of sugar is not good.
I was saying the other way. So if you really want to eat a lot of sugar, try eating pickles instead. That's what I'm saying.
Yes. So regarding your earlier question about cold exposure in particular, actually some breathing exercises called Wim Hof method or Tumo breathing are an introductory exercise that mimics kind of cold exposure. So they
that's
can
awesome.
be a good replacement for people who cannot do that or are not ready. But my question is, you have used burnout and depression kind of interchangeably throughout the presentation. However, isn't burnout like most relevant and most often experienced by people who have people-oriented jobs, like when they have a lot of contact with people, like nurses, like psychologists, and people who in theory shouldn't like software developers be kind of low in that?
So to be honest, I don't know. I'm not an expert. I'm not a burnout expert. I know that I've experienced it in like both in a setting when interacting a lot with people as part of my work, and also in a setting while I was working as a developer and spending most of the time with code. And I'll actually, you inspired me to read up on this a bit because like I'm only speaking for myself. I got it from one and from the other.
Thank you so much. We have another. Yes, sir.
I think that
that's
that's a really good point, because I wanted to ask you, did you experience this like really big burnout and depression when you became an engineering manager? Because you guys have to like talk a lot to people. And recently in my job, we started having so many meetings. I was like all day on the Slack or Zoom or something, and I didn't experience that. And I really felt after work extremely tired. I was just tired of speaking to people all day. and maybe this was some kind of a burnout, and that's why I was curious. Did you felt this more when you became an engineering manager or also as a developer?
No, also as a developer. So 2 of those 3 burnout episodes were so one of them was at the start of being a founder. One of them was, I actually got one from each career, from each profession. I got one as a developer, one as a startup founder, and one as an engineering manager. So there's no rule. Also, there's a difference between being tired, even exhausted after a day of hard work, and burnout. Burnout is more kind of, it comes slowly. It's very difficult to say when it started, for example. And I think the main symptom that I've seen in myself when I was diagnosed with burnout was that I have no energy to pick up any of my tasks, right? So I'm like thinking, oh no, I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing that. Like I just need to force myself to do this, right?
That's what happened to me after 2 months of that.
Okay, guys. We used to say in English, get a room, okay? It's true. I just, only because we have also a lightning talk coming up, and I just want to try to keep the questions to questions and rather not dialogue. We can talk later in the networking area, part of the evening. I will say this, a passion for your work. If we had this question in the last meetup, if you have a passion for what you do, if you wake up in the morning like, yes, and you're doing what you do, not for the money, not because you need to pay bills, not because you have dependents, not because if you really love and you engage with your work and it motivates you, then the chances of burnout are very low. That's just been my experience, and I'm 162 years old. So that's what I would suggest. Really love what you do, and if you don't love what you do, find something that you do. Maybe that.
So stop being a developer.
Wait, who is that? Who is that? Do you love your job? Do you love what you do? Wait a second, do you love what you do?
This is the moment when I ask myself this question a lot.
You don't. Important question. Sometimes it's a lot of responsibility, sometimes it's too many Zoom meetings, etc. However, you know whether you love it or not.
I would like to add is that when you are passionate about something and you are, push it to the limit, you can then also be burned because when you are playing with
you can be exhausted
with fire, you can be burned. Yeah. So this is from my perspective, thinking when you are too active and you forgot about all those tools you mentioned, you will be definitely burned at some point.
Yeah, that's my experience as well. Like even though I really love what I do, and I did experience burnout. I was diagnosed with burnout, and I managed to get out of it without changing my career or even changing my workplace. So thanks for these tools. Thank you for the great questions as well.
I hope you'll be able to dialogue with these people also a little bit later. Folks, we have a little bit of a surprise. We're going to have now a lightning talk by Akasha, who is from Blazity. Welcome, Akasha, to the stage.
Should I give you this?
Yeah, probably. Is it mute?
I don't know. So I was putting it like this through my...
Okay, probably I will just...
Right here on your lapel. You need me to help you?
Okay.
Yeah.
I can try.
Yeah, right here. It's probably good.
Can we put our website on...
Sure, you have slides.
No, just website.
Website. This is not hooked up to the internet.
No. Okay. But okay, it's not much.
Now it's not.
Okay.
Once again, please welcome Kasha from Blazity.
Hi, my name is Kasia, and I'm recruitment and employer branding specialist at Blazity. We are one of the sponsors of today's meetup. I didn't come alone. I came with Piotr, who gave you an awesome presentation about Turborepo earlier today. I would like to tell you a little bit more about Blazity. We are a small software house which specialize in Next.js, and we are the only gold partner of Warsaw in Poland. We are working mostly with clients from US and from Scandinavia, and we are doing mostly greenfield projects. We're working 100% remote, but we also do some stuff in order to keep in touch while working remotely. First of all, we have non-mandatory coffee break meetings every day, and also we are meeting 2-3 times a year in Warsaw, just to hang out with each other. Generally, we have now 3 open positions from senior, for senior mid and front-end developer, and from senior project manager. If you would like to talk with me or Piotr, we are going to be on networking and pizza session. So feel free to come and just talk to us. Yes, a question.
Sorry, did you say you're the official partner of Warsaw?
Yes, we are gold partner of Warsaw. If you go to Warsaw website and go experts, you will find one of us. We are on the Warsaw websites. You can check it, or we can just go through it right now on our phones. No problem at all. Yes. Any other questions?
What makes you a gold partner of Warsaw?
Sorry?
What makes you a gold partner of Warsaw?
Yes, we are experts in their technologies. We do almost every single project right now is in Next.js, except one right now. And we communicate, and we also share knowledge about Warsaw products, like, for instance, today. Yes.
Are you using Next.13 already?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. We actually, if you go to our LinkedIn, you will see that we were one of the sponsors of the Next.js conference in San Francisco. Our board members went to San Francisco. We have the films from there. So yes, we already implemented Next.js 13. It depends, if when the project starts. Yes, 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 exactly. Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you very much. And I will be there waiting for more questions. Yeah, come here, talk to me. Or Piotr, where I lost him right now.
Piotr is downstairs right now, getting the pizza.
No, Piotr Sławiński.
Sławiński.
Where?
They're probably together.
Oh, okay, then he gave you a speech before, so you probably will recognize him. Okay, thank you very much. And
thank you. Thank you very much, Marcel. It's really a pleasure. So as you can see on the screen, we are very close to the next Confront.js conference, front-end conference, and that's going to take place on March 24th in Warsaw. I don't see the location on the screen, and maybe it's a secret. Say again? Warsaw. In Warsaw, yes. If you need more details, and please do get tickets. Last one was amazing. We had speakers from over 12, 13 different countries that came to speak and present, and it was a really fascinating experience for me. I'm learning every day with you guys. We really hope that you will make it and join us for that. Just ignore that guy behind the curtain. We have one more lightning talk before we get to the networking, and I'd like you guys to just give a really, really, really warm. This is going to be very interesting, I promise. Not as interesting as yours. Okay, no baby. Interesting talk by Tomasz Wiszniewski.
Yes.
Welcome to the stage.
Do I need it to translate?
Possibly, yes. You've got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Thank
You
you.
have 5 minutes.
All right. Thank you for having me here. Yeah, my name is Krzysztof Moszyński, and I'm a software developer. And today I would like to share a few simple reflections about the thing that is often overlooked when it comes to software, which is defaults, the default settings or default behavior of a tool or a program. And good defaults is something that means many different things to many people. However, I would like to speak about 2 factors of good defaults today. Number 1, the default settings should be the ones that the user would usually want to have. Meaning, the ones that are beneficial, beneficial to the user, I have it muted, beneficial to the user at no cost or negligible cost to the user. When we speak about a cost, of course, there is always a cost to a certain setting. I will give you an example. Security settings in your browsers. There are a lot of settings in the browsers that increase the level of your privacy, the level of your security. However, that's at the cost of some decreased functionality, possibly of some websites. If you, for example, turn off your JavaScript in your browser, a lot of sites stopped working. However, you have increased security. So, however, if those settings have low cost or no cost at all and grant the user increased security, then perhaps they should be turned on. They should be on by default. They should be the good defaults. So one big example, one also big factor, I'm saying beneficial to the user. So we have settings like telemetry, which could be by default turned on, which is not beneficial to the user. It's beneficial to the company. However, of course, we are professionals, so we might need to make those sacrifices for our employers, but we should be conscious of the fact that this is not good for the user. This is good for the company. If we want to do good by the user, we want to have telemetry being the opt-in rather than opt-out. Nudging users towards settings they would not want to have is bad practice, although it's not as bad as taking away the option to set good settings from the users altogether, because there is software where good options have been taken away from the users, possibly forever. And the second aspect of good defaults is the settings in the state that the user would expect them to be. So the defaults that can be expected behavior by the user, as opposite to the behavior that would be weird, unexpected, difficult to predict. So this is very visible. This is very visible when it comes to many software tools, many programming tools, many frameworks. So there are frameworks that have good defaults, that have sane defaults, where when you code something, you use some function, you use some method, you know what it will do. You can predict how the framework will work. And these are good defaults. And one of the last ideas is that tools are by their very nature and settings are by their very nature opinionated. So there must be some default setting. And good tools are consciously opinionated. So they have their default settings for a reason. They are well thought out, they serve the user, and they are predictable. And I will say that an example of a good default settings, which actually has inspired me to make this presentation, is Tailwind CSS that I have been using lately. And it is an example of a good tool whose strength, one of the big strengths, lies in its well-thought defaults, well-thought default settings, which, and Tailwind CSS, if you are not familiar with it, it's a CSS framework that provides very good default settings, very good, you could say, classes, utility classes that you can use, while also allowing complete customization within
Give a big hand to Krzysztof Sławiński. Great advice. I've got some news from the boss over here that we have an offer. If you buy your tickets for WarsawJS, which is taking place on the 24th of March, here is your QR code. You can get a 300 zloty discount on the ticket. So this is for all of you in the room. I thought it was mistaken. I said, wait, 300 zloty. The price is 300 after this. He says, no, a 300 zloty discount if you buy tickets to WarsawJS as soon as possible. I would recommend doing it before the end of the week. WarsawJS, excuse me. And before we leave, I just want to say thank you once more to our sponsors. And those sponsors are, number one, the Lazy Tea. Daftcode, this is where we are. It's the hand Evolution. Fresh Shop, Prisma, and X-Men. Thank you, everybody. Have a great networking session and see you next time. Thanks, everybody.
How do I take this off?